Welcome everyone. It's good to have you. My name is Richard. This is a level 1 Vinyasa practice. It's about 75 minutes, and today we're going to be focusing quite a bit on your hips, trying to get them even from left to right, just noticing any habits, maybe anything that's been coming up over the past few weeks being at home. We'll start in just a moment. Welcome everyone, my name is Richard. This is a level 1 Vinyasa practice. Today we're going to be focusing quite a bit on your hips, trying to get them even from left to right, focusing on some deep folds, and just some fun little things. Know that today you'll want to have 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks at home, you could use milk cartons, shoe boxes, old plastic Tupperware, as long as they're the same size. That should help you out quite a bit. And then a strap, if you have one. And if you don't have a strap, it could be a dog leash, it could be a belt, whatever works for you. Know that we'll be starting in child's pose today. So as you feel ready, go ahead and come onto your mat, taking your knees nice and wide. You're going to bring the big toes to touch, stretching your arms nice and long on the mat. Rooting down through the inner palms, let your chest sink to the floor. And really just taking the first few breaths to arrive. Shifting your focus, your attention, your awareness, and just noticing, how are you this morning? How's your mind? What are you focusing on? And how's the breath, most importantly? Really just taking the first few breaths, again, to arrive. Notice, what is your breath like? And as you observe your breath, just noticing this morning, do you favor the inhale, or is it maybe the exhale? Again, how's the breath? And starting to slowly deepen your breath. Full inhale through your nose. And let all the breath come out of the mouth as if you were fogging up a mirror. Let's do that twice more. Steady inhale. Open mouth exhale. And one more just like that. And letting all the breath go out of the mouth. And making that same audible sound. Seal your lips. Inhaling through the nose. Ujjayi. Short pause once you feel full. And steady exhale through the nose, from the chest to the ribs to the belly. Let's do a few more just like that. Inhaling slowly. Exhaling through the nose, nice and steady. And again, just a few more. And just observing, what is it like to breathe this morning? Or this evening, midday, whenever you're practicing. And noticing as the breath becomes a little bit smoother, a little bit more steady, the mind also becomes a little bit more quiet, calm, focused, and most of all present. Last 2 breaths in child's pose. And starting to root down through the palms, lifting the forearms away from the mat. Can you try to hug the wrists, the forearms into one another? You'll feel the upper outer arms start to engage, those triceps. Feel the muscles hugging to the bones. One more big inhale. And then really rooting into the palms. On the exhale, go ahead and lift the hips a little bit higher. Take an inhale, keep rooting down through the palms, tuck your toes. And then on the exhale, let's lift our hips up and back, keeping a big bend in the knees. So it's a generous bend, first down dog. And again, just rooting down through the palms. Notice as you bend the knees how the hips really lift. Can you lift the hip creases, the tops of the thighs, further up and back? One more full inhale. And then on the exhale, go ahead and slowly walk your hands back to your feet. And as you walk the hands back, feel free to wiggle the feet a little bit wider. Bending the knees generously again. Once more, fold over your thighs. And as you fold over your thighs, the fingertips can be on the floor. You can take pinkies to opposite elbow crease. You could even take the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers. Either way, whatever you choose. Can you soften? Last breath here. And again, keeping that soft bend in the knees. On the inhale, let's lift up halfway, bringing the hands to the shins. Can you straighten the arms, reaching the chest forward in space? Even as you glide the shoulder blades back. And then exhale, folding up and over the thighs. Uttanasana. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, lift up halfway. Lengthen the collarbones, the chest forward in space. Exhale, folding Uttanasana. Forward fold. One more just like that. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Wiggle the feet a little bit closer together so they're maybe now hip width. And then trying your best to line up the outer edges of the feet. And as you do that, can you spread the toes evenly? Can you keep the heels heavy? Go ahead and walk your hands halfway down the mat. We'll call this a short down dog. So you're trying your best to keep the front and the back of the foot rooted on the mat. It might be a little bit difficult. Now, keeping the heels rooted, can you add a soft bend to the knees? Can you continue to push your hips up and back? And just notice what you feel in your legs. One more full inhale. Try to keep your legs pushing back, even as you walk your hands now forward, all the way to your full downward facing dog. And it's okay if the heels lift. We actually like that. Keep rooting down through the inner palms. You got one more breath. And broaden the shoulders on the exhale. Notice where you can soften. And then on our next inhale, let's go ahead and roll forward to our first plank. And as you shift forward into the plank, notice the shoulders, notice your spine. Can you engage the legs, lifting the navel, broadening the shoulders back? One more full inhale. Exhale, draw your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And let's do that twice more. We'll pause on the last one again. Inhale, roll forward to plank. Broad collarbones, broad chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. And last one. Inhale, rolling forward. If you'd like to this time, go ahead and set your knees down. We're going to come to the mat. So as you set your knees down, broaden the shoulders back. Big inhale, lift the navel, lift the sternum. Exhale, begin to shift forward, past the wrist, coming all the way down to the mat. And then if you find your hands have kind of ended up beneath your shoulders, wiggle the hands slightly further back. Go ahead and bring your forehead down to the floor. Drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Notice how the chest gets wider. Push into the tops of the feet. Inhale, scoop your chest up for low cobra. Bhujangasana. Exhale, release all the way down. And let's do that 3 more times today on the breath. Inhale, rolling up and away from the floor. Sternum, chest pushing forward. Exhale, release. Gentle lift of the navel. And again, inhale, scooping up. Exhale, release. And again, big inhale. And as you start to come back down, retuck your toes, lift your navel. You could either push yourself back into all fours or modified plank. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. And as you find downward facing dog, feel free to fidget this time. Maybe pedal the feet, rooting the right heel down, bending the left knee. And switching, root the left heel down, bend the right knee. Maybe doing that 2 or 3 more times. Can you keep your hips pushing up and back in space? Can you continue to root down through the palms? Last one. Good, and then pushing both heels down. Big inhale, look forward, bend the knees generously. And then exhale as many steps as it takes you, step to the top of the mat. Inhale, go ahead and lift yourself up halfway, Uttanasana, chest reaching forward. Exhale, fold up and over the thighs. Again, inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale, fold. And last one. Inhale, lift up halfway, this time guiding the hands to the hips. On the exhale, rooting into the heels, rise up all the way to stand. And then bringing your arms down alongside you, palms spinning forward, shoulder heads drawing back, standing tall in Tadasana, mountain pose. Noticing your breath, closing the eyes if it feels comfortable. Full inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, guide the palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Again, open up the palms, spreading the arms out wide. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, palms to heart center. And one more time, just like that. Inhale, sweeping the arms up and over. Exhale, palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. And again, closing the eyes if it's comfortable. Shoulder heads drawing back, standing tall. If you haven't already, taking a moment here to set a clear intention for your practice. And as always, something honest, something simple you can return to often, maybe even after you leave your mat. Whatever it is, sealing it in. And on your next full inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, fold all the way down to the mat, gentle bend in the knees. Inhale, lengthen your chest forward in space, Uttanasana, half lift. Exhale, fold, forward fold. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Again, inhale, arms rising high. Exhale, fold it all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, reaching the chest forward. Exhale, fold. Inhaling, root to rise. Exhaling, Anjali Mudra, palms to heart center. And adding on, inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, fold all the way down. Big inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, rooting your fingertips maybe to the floor or to your blocks. Go ahead and step your left foot back into a lunge. So you're stepping that left foot as far back as you can. And then taking a big inhale, reach your chest forward, rooting the palms into the blocks or the mat. On the exhale, can you draw the shoulder blades back? You got one more full inhale. And then on the exhale, shift your blocks to the side. Place your hands down, stepping the right foot back, downward facing dog. Now we're going to be here for about 2 to 3 more breaths. I'm just going to give you a simple modification if you find that your shoulders are pretty tight. You might take your blocks beneath your hands, palms onto the blocks, coming right back in a downward facing dog. But again, you're rooting down through the palms, hugging the wrist, the forearms in. Big inhale, look forward. Exhale, go ahead and step your left foot forward. And same thing, pausing on the fingertips, lifting the chest. Lunge. One more full inhale. Notice where you can soften. Exhale, step the right foot to meet the left foot. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway, long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, root to rise, sweep the arms up and over. Exhaling, Anjali Mudra, palms to heart center. Adding on, second side. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, fold it all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Again, exhale, rooting the fingertips, step the right foot back. Pause. Big inhale, chest reaching forward, shoulders broadening back. And again, on the exhale, how can you soften? There's always something we can soften. And it may not be physical. Big inhale. Again, grounding the palms. On the exhale, step your left foot back, downward facing dog. Big inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step the right foot forward between the palms. Again, rise into fingertips. Big inhale, you're in a lunge. Exhale, shoulders broaden back, chest reaching forward. One more breath. Notice your legs. Next exhale, stepping left foot to meet right foot. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway, long spine. Exhale, fold. Let's add on. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, root to rise. Exhaling, palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Big inhale, sweeping the arms up and over. Exhale, fold it all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, rooting your palms. Step the left foot back, step the right foot back, downward facing dog. On the inhale, let's go ahead and roll forward to high plank. And again, you always have agency, you always have a choice. Setting the knees down or keeping them lifted, shift past the wrist, coming into the half push-up. And then untucking the toes, we're going to straighten the arms. You might lift up to upward facing dog. You might do this with your hips on the floor for Cobra. On your next exhale, lift the navel, retuck the toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. So again, if it's a little bit harder for you to get your foot to the top of the mat, and you do have blocks, take your palms to those blocks. They're very useful. Take a big inhale. We're going to lift the left leg up and back to start. And then on the exhale, looking forward, go ahead and hug the knee into the chest. Step the foot through the palms. Set the back knee down to the mat. Tucking the back toes. If you have blocks, bring the blocks back so that the blocks are now kind of right alongside your hips. Pushing into the blocks, lift your chest up and away from the floor. Draw the shoulder heads back, tops of the arms. And then feeling this space right behind the shoulder blades, can you push that part of the spine forward in space? On the exhale, can you draw the front ribs of the belly back in space? Inhale, lengthen the arms overhead. This is Anjaneyasana, low lunge. One more breath here. Feeling your legs. Can you feel like you could hug the legs in towards one another? As if you could drag left heel to right knee to left foot. Full inhale, looking up, maybe reaching up even further. Exhale, go ahead and ground your palms. Step the left foot back to meet the right foot. Downward facing dog. Inhale, now lifting the right leg up and back. Three-limb dog. Exhale, look forward, step the right foot next to the right hand. And same work, gently set the back knee down. Walking the blocks back. Inhale, push into the blocks, lift your chest. And same work, notice your spine. Can you push that space behind the shoulder blades up in space to help you lift the collarbones of sternum? On the exhale, can you draw the front ribs of the belly back in space? Adding the arms, it's optional. 3 more breaths. Last full breath. And exhale, grounding your palms, scan to the floor or to your blocks, step the right foot back, downward facing dog. So if you have the blocks, we're going to do our vinyasa this time with the blocks. You're more than welcome to do this with your hands on the floor. Big inhale, shift forward to plank pose. Exhale, untuck your toes. So you're on the tops of the feet. On the inhale, begin to bend your elbows like you would for Chaturanga. Come about halfway down. And then pushing into the blocks, straighten the arms, scoop your chest up away from the floor. The same work you did in the low lunge. Notice the lift of the sternum. Exhaling, hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Let's continue onward. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back. Exhale, hug the knee and step the foot through the hands. Inhale, this time rising up to Crescent Lunge. Bring the hands to the hips. Add a soft bend to the back knee if it's useful. And just noticing this shape compared to the low lunge. Same work. Can you feel like you could hug the legs into one another? Can you hug the hips in towards the midline? Big inhale. Notice where you can soften on your exhale. And then looking at your front leg, we're going to try to keep the knee, the shin, in line with the first and second big toe as we straighten the leg. Inhale, straighten. Notice your pelvis. Exhale, bend. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bending. And last one, try to keep that back leg long. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, bend the front knee. Inhale, arms reaching up and over. Exhale, set your hands down to the floor, to the blocks. Step your left foot back, downward facing dog. Let's go into the second side, then we'll add the vinyasa. Inhale, lift your right leg up and back. Exhale, slowly hug the knee into the chest. Step the foot through the hands. Again, adding a soft bend to the back knee. Bring your hands to your hips and let's slowly rise up to Crescent Lunge. So focusing a little bit more on the hips this time. Can you feel that outer right hip? Can you gently draw that outer right hip back and in? Notice how the left hip may sway to the side. Can you firm the left hip into center even as you draw the right hip back and in? Big inhale, lift the chest, soften the shoulders. And let's do the same thing we did on the first side. On the exhale, straighten the front leg. Notice if your knee wavers in one direction. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bending. Last one, exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Reach the arms overhead. Last 2 breaths. Full inhale, maybe gazing up to the ceiling, to the fingers. Exhale, root your palms down to the blocks, and again, step the right foot back. Downward facing dog. Big inhale, rolling forward, high plank. Again, exhale, bend the elbows, come down about halfway. So the upper arm bones might be parallel with the floor. You might not go all the way down. Again, untuck the toes, straighten the arms. Pushing down through the hands, through the triceps engage, through the sternum lift. Drawing the navel up and in, push the hips up and back. As you tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Big inhale, bend your knees, look forward. And then exhale, step to the top of the mat as you feel ready. Inhale, lift yourself up halfway again, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, fold. Inhaling, root to rise, swoop the arms up and overhead. Exhaling, palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. I'm taking a moment here to come back to your intention, coming back to your breath. Can you again find that steady ujjayi, breathing in and out of the nose. One more breath. Inhaling as you feel ready, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. On the exhale, rooting your fingertips to the mat. Go ahead and step your left foot back, like you're stepping into a lunge, and then spinning the heel down on the mat. We're going to bend the front knee. Inhale, reach your chest forward. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Again, next inhale, can you lengthen your chest forward in space? And then rooting into that back inner heel. Exhale. Lift the chest a little bit higher. Inhale, let's now slowly rise up all the way to stand. Take the arms overhead. And then on the exhale, pausing again. Bend as much into that front knee as you'd like. It's your practice. But really noticing your hips. Can you gently guide that outer right hip back and in, even as you hug the left hip to center? One more full inhale. Exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway, Uttanasana. Exhale as you fold, step the right foot back into a lunge. Same work, spin the heel down, bending the front knee. Inhale, bring the hands to the hips, lengthening the chest forward. Exhale, broaden the shoulders back. And rooting into that back inner heel, next inhale, rise up to stand. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Again, notice where you can soften. Notice if you might be overworking. Again, sensing that outer left hip, can you gently glide that hip back and in, even as you draw the right hip to center. Full inhale, arms lengthening up overhead. Exhale, where, how can you soften? Full inhale, maybe gazing up. Exhale, bring the hands down to the mat, stepping the right foot to meet the left foot. forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Exhale, ground your palms, step the feet back to plank. Big inhale, long spine. This time we're going to come all the way down to the mat. Shift forward past the wrists as you come all the way down. And then go ahead and extend your hands back so the arms are alongside your hips. I said the hands are alongside the hips. Pushing the feet and the tops of the palms into the floor. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the shoulders. Exhale, glide the shoulder blades down the back. Big inhale as you feel ready. We'll lift the left leg, followed by the right leg. Keep lengthening your chest forward as you inhale. Try to keep broadening the shoulders back. One more full inhale, rooting down through the fingernails. And exhale, come all the way down. Guide your hands back beneath your elbows, full inhale. And then tuck in your toes, choosing push yourself into plank or modified plank. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. So at this point, I'm assuming you're feeling pretty warmed up. I'm feeling pretty warmed up here. Let's take a big inhale, lift your right leg up and back to start this time. And then just notice how high are you trying to lift that leg? If you can't see your toes, you might have the leg too high. And let me rephrase that. Can you see your toes without drawing your chin to your chest? Maybe adjust a little bit. Take one more big inhale, drawing that left hip back and in. Exhale, look forward, hug the right knee into the chest, step the foot through the hands. Spinning the back heel down to the mat. Let's rise again into warrior one. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bring the hands down, step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Same thing, second side. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back. And you should be able to see those toes without having to crank your chin to your chest. Can you draw the right hip back and in? Can you continue to hug the wrist, the forearms in as you root into the palms? Big inhale, look forward. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest, step the foot through the hands. Same work, spin the back heel down. Inhale, rise up. Warrior one. Next exhale, guide your hands down, step the left foot back. Downward facing dog. Let's add a vinyasa. Inhale, rolling forward, high plank. Exhale, shift past the wrists again. Feel free to set your knees down. Chaturanga, maybe all the way to the mat. Inhale, scooping up Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling, hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, bending your knees, look forward. Exhale, step the right foot forward, followed by the left foot, forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Exhale, fold, forward fold. Inhaling, root into the heels, root to rise, swoop the arms up and over. Exhaling, palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. And then for today, go ahead and separate the feet a little bit wider so they may be hip width. We're going to come into Uttanasana chair pose. Feeling your hip creases, your thighs, can you draw them back and down? As you lengthen your arms forward in space, you're reaching your arms forward in front of you. Go ahead and spin your palms, your pinkies in. Feel how the elbows also wrap in. Keeping that effort of the arms wrapping in, can you lengthen the arms overhead, taking them up to a Y? Now just observing, if you take the arms too far back, you might feel that the low ribs kind of flare out. Maybe the low back starts to grip. Can you lengthen the arms overhead and draw the front ribs back in space? Root into the heels, one more big inhale. Exhale, let's go ahead and press to stand. Arms alongside the hips. Close the eyes for a moment. Come back to your breath, come back to your intention. As you're ready, inhale, swoop the arms up and over. Exhale, fold all the way down, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, root your palms, step the feet back, downward facing dog. So we're going to skip the vinyasa intentionally. I promise there will always be more than enough vinyasas in your yoga career. Let's again start with the right leg. Inhale, lift your right leg up and back, three-limb dog. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest, step the foot through the hands. Spin your back, heel down, and then finding your block, your water bottle, whatever you have handy, go ahead and guide it outside of your right ankle. We're going to rise up to Warrior One. So you've been here in this shape. Big inhale. On the exhale, roll your torso open to the left, arms out wide, Warrior Two. And then just feel the subtle shift in the hips and the thighs. Feeling that right hip, can you draw that right hip back and in? Can you root into that back and her left heel? One more full inhale. This is Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. Exhale it slowly, straighten the front leg. Now, can you keep the back leg nice and engaged, even again as you rebend the front knee? Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bending. And you bend as far as you feel comfortable. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. And then inhale, straighten, and pause. Feeling that right hip crease, can you push that right hip crease back in space? You feel that it tips your pelvis. Go ahead and extend your right hand down towards your shin or the block. Left hand rising high. This is Trikonasana Triangle. We're going to be here for about 3 more breaths. Feel like you could hug that right thigh to center. Feel the left hip still gently drawing into center. One more full inhale, reaching, radiating out through the arms. Exhale slowly, rebend your front knee, come back to Warrior Two. And flipping the front palm, take the left hand to the left thigh, reach up and back, reversing the Warrior, full inhale. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Shift your block to the side as you step the right foot back for plank. Now the Vinyasa is always optional. If you want to skip it, rest. Maybe just holding plank, shift past the wrist. Coming all the way down if you'd like. Cobra or upward facing dog, big inhale. Exhaling, lift the navel, hips up and back, downward facing dog. And just give yourself 2 breaths to come back to the Ujjayi. With your neck nice and long, can you shift your gaze in between the heels? Big inhale, lift your left leg up and back. Exhale, slowly hug the knee into the chest. Same work, step the foot through the hands. Spinning the back heel down. Again, if you have a block handy, set it up outside your left ankle. And let's rise up to first warrior, Warrior One. One more full inhale. Exhale, rolling open to Warrior Two. And so same work. We're going to straighten this leg 3 times the front leg. Reaching out to the arms, inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, bending. Try to keep that back leg engaged. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bending. And one more. Inhale, straighten. Pausing. Exhale, push that left hip crease back in space. Notice how your pelvis tilts. More importantly, notice how the right hip rolls forward. Extend the left hand down to the block or the shin, guiding the right hand high, Trikonasana Triangle. And again, we'll be here for about 3 breaths. Can you draw the shoulder blades away from the ears, further down the back towards the pelvis? Can you lift the navel up and in? Last breath, yogis. Next exhale, let's rebend the front knee, come back to Warrior Two. Flipping the front palm, inhale, reverse the warrior, reach up and back, right hand to right thigh. Exhale, cartwheel the hands to the mat. Shifting your block to the side, step the left foot back, plank. Again, downward facing dog or child's pose for 3 breaths. Not shift past the wrist, Chaturanga Dandasan, the half push-up. Untuck the toes, straighten the arms, lifting the sternum, big inhale. Rooting into the inner palms, hips up and back. Downward facing dog. 2 more breaths. Again, long arms, steady gaze between the heels. Let's take a big inhale, begin to bend the knees, look forward. And then exhale, choosing, you can hop, if not stepping, left foot, followed by right foot. Forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhaling, root to rise, swoop the arms up and over. Exhaling, palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra, coming back to the breath. 2 breaths here, steady Ujjayi. And whenever you're ready, opening up the eyes, if you close them, go ahead and find your belt or your strap or your dog leash, whatever you got. Just go ahead and take it over your shoulders like a little necklace. Just for the sake of you being able to see me, I'm going to turn on my mat here. We're going to come into a chair pose. So separate the feet a little bit wider for this chair unless you prefer having them together. Go ahead and bend your knees, bringing the hips back and down, reaching the arms overhead. Uttanasana, fierce pose, chair pose. Taking a big inhale, we're going to shift the weight into the right leg. I'm going to do the opposite of you here. Shifting the weight into the right leg, go ahead and lift your left knee towards your chest. Try to keep your right knee bent. You may have to shift the strap or the leash to the side. Go ahead and cross your left leg over your right. You're hugging the inner thighs. Now, if you feel a little bit wobbly today, you can always set your left toes down on a block, or you can set the toes on the floor like a kickstand. Continue to bend that bottom right leg. And as you do that, go ahead and stretch the arms out wide. Really taking up space here. Big inhale, lift the sternum. Exhale, draw those front ribs back in space, knit them down. One more full inhale. And then exhale, go ahead and thread your left arm underneath your right, giving yourself a hug here, connecting the palms for Garudasana Eagle. Full inhale, lift the arms, lift the sternum. Exhale, really sitting back and down into that right leg. So the right leg is essentially in chair pose. Taking a full inhale here. How can you soften on the exhale? Inhale, lengthen the arms overhead. Exhale, standing tall on the right leg. Draw the left knee towards your chest. And then as you feel ready, we're going to interlace the fingers beneath that left thigh. Can you send your your left hip, thigh down to the floor? Lift the sternum, drawing the shoulders back. As you feel ready, inhale, straighten the left leg. And just notice that left side body, does it kind of scrunch up and lift? What does it take for you to get even from left to right? One more breath. Exhale, slowly rebend that left knee. Place the foot down. Probably feeling your legs. Find your strap or find your leash. And go ahead and take the strap beneath the ball of your left foot. As you feel ready, go ahead and lift that left leg, that knee up and away from the floor. Go ahead and guide the strap into the left hand, so you're right inside of that left thigh. As you feel ready, take the right hand to the outer right hip. Now, just so we can all feel this together, can you roll your left hip up and away from the floor and just notice how the right hip kind of caves in? Do the opposite now. Can you roll the left hip down? Notice how the right hip kind of sways to the side. Can you find the balance between those two efforts? So you're drawing that left hip down, that outer hip down, even as you hug that right hip to center. Once you find your center, your balance, start to extend the left leg to straight. Soften the right toes. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. If you'd like to, lengthen the right arm overhead, finding a steady gaze, steady drishti. Last full inhale. Exhale, slowly rebend the knee. Release the strap. Place the left foot on the mat. Shake it out. Take your strap or your leash back over your shoulders. Let's do the second side. Bending into the knees, bring the hips back and down. This time we're doing the right leg. Shifting the weight into your left leg. Go ahead and lift your right knee towards your chest. And big inhale. And then on the exhale, go ahead and cross that right leg over the left leg. Oops. And if you stumble or you fall, it's just part of the practice. Can you treat yourself well? Right. Again, draw the hips a little bit further back and down. As you're ready, push the arms out wide. Reach out through the palms. Big inhale. Exhale, thread the left arm underneath the right. Garudasana arms. So again, if this is too much, just give yourself a big hug. If not, lifting triceps, gently hugging inner thighs. 2 more breaths. Inhale, lengthen the arms overhead. Exhale, standing tall on that left leg, draw the right knee towards your chest. Same work, yogis. Interlace the fingers beneath the right thigh. Send that right femur, the thigh bone, the hip, down to the floor. As you're ready, straighten the right leg. And that's optional. If your body's screaming at you when you do that, it's probably too much, in which case you might just rebend. Last breath. Notice where you can soften. That question comes up often in this practice. Slowly rebend. Place the foot down. Again, find your strap. And go ahead and guide your strap over the ball of the right foot. As you're ready, bring the strap into the right hand. Pushing into the left foot, lift the right knee up and away from the floor. And same work, yogis. Feeling that right hip. Can you roll the right hip up and away from the floor? Notice what you gain, what you lose. You probably feel a little bit unsteady. Can you send that right hip now down and go too far until the right hip is lower than the left hip? And notice how the left hip kind of pushes out to the side. Sassy hip, right? Hug that outer right hip into center, even as you descend hug that left hip to center, even as you descend the right thigh down at the floor. Big inhale, let's go ahead and straighten the leg if you did before. Keeping that left hip gently drawn to center. You might lengthen the left arm overhead. Last 2 breaths. Full inhale. Exhale, slowly rebend. Releasing the strap. Place the foot on the floor. And as you're ready, place your strap down on the mat. And guide your hands back to heart center. Anjali Mudra. Coming back to your breath, coming back to your intention. Little moment of pause. And then if you'd like, it's a great time to drink a little bit of water. Maybe taking a little sip before we move on. Now, full disclosure, you may not enjoy this next pose as much. Try your best to stay with your breath. It is very difficult. We're going to take a big inhale, swooping the arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold it all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, root your palms. Go ahead and step the feet back for plank. We'll take a vinyasa before this next sequence. Shift the chest forward past the wrist. Set the knees down if you'd like. Again, you might come all the way down to the floor. You might come to Chaturanga. Inhale, scooping up, up dog or Cobra. Exhaling, hips up and back. Downward facing dog. And this is one of those poses you learn to love. If you love it right now, that's awesome. Just notice what you feel. Try to stay with your breath more than anything. We're going to take a big inhale, lifting the left leg up and back, 3-limb dog. And then on the exhale, again, really make sure that you can see your left leg. If the leg is so high that you feel your hip has turned open, it's probably too far. Can you bring the leg a little bit lower until you feel your hips are pretty even from left to right? Add a sob bend to the right knee. Can you now draw your right hip back and in? One more big inhale. Exhale, walk your hands halfway back toward your right foot. Now you're going to try your best here. Pushing into the ball, the right foot, the front of the right foot. Can you bend the right knee, lifting the heel up and away from the floor? Can feel your right hip, draw the right hip back and in. And then feel your left thigh. Can you hug your left thigh in towards your right? Maybe lifting the heel a little bit higher, the inner thigh. You're going to choose to stay here for about 3 to 4 more breaths. Or walk your hands further back. Try to keep your right heel lifted. Try to keep drawing that right hip back and in. Last breath. Again, I know it's not easy. Stay with the breath. Exhale, step the left foot down and meet the right foot. Forward fold, Uttanasana, bend the knees as much as you'd like. Maybe ragdoll, another breath. Big inhale, let's lift up halfway, long spine. Exhale, walk your hands forward, downward facing dog. Set your knees down, taking them wide, big toes to touch. Child's pose, just 3 breaths. And again, notice your mind, your breath after that shape. And shifting yourself forward, come back to all fours, hands and knees. Retucking your toes, let's lift ourselves up and back into downward facing dog. Inhale, second side, lift the right leg now up and back. Exhale, pause. So again, notice that right leg, keeping the ears lining up with the inner upper arms. Can you see your right toes? Can you get the hips even? As you're ready, walk your hands halfway back. It can always be the palms, it can always be the fingertips. Fingertips might feel better if the wrist is a little bit achy. But same work. If you haven't already, lift that left heel up and away from the floor. Add a soft bend to the left knee so it makes it a little bit easier to find that effort. And then same work. If it's already pretty difficult, this is where you'll pause today. There's nothing wrong with that. If not, walk your hands further back. Keep lifting up through the inner right heel, the inner thigh. Feel like you could really hug those thighs, those hips in towards one another. Last breath. And next exhale, right foot to meet left foot, forward fold back of the mat, Uttanasana. Again, bend the knees as much as you'd like, folding over your thighs, any variation. And releasing your hands down to the mat. Inhale, lift yourself up halfway. Exhale, walk your hands forward, downward facing dog. And then choosing this time. If you'd like to take a vinyasa in between. If you'd like to rest, take your knees wide, bring the toes to touch, stretch the arms long for child's pose. And last breath wherever you're at. And next inhale, let's roll forward, all fours, hands and knees. On the exhale, go ahead and tuck your toes. Big inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. All right, a little bit of strengthening work here now. Inhale, let's roll forward, high plank. On the exhale, go ahead and bring your forearms down to the mat for forearm plank. And as you find forearm plank, your forearms can be parallel, your palms can be together, but do try to make sure that the the elbows are really shoulder width, not too much wider. Draw the shoulder blades back, lift the navel, the chest. 3 more breaths in plank, forearm plank. And on the exhale, let's go ahead and set the shins down to the mat. Now, if you're at home and you do have a block, go ahead and take your block between your palms, or take a water bottle between your palms, right? If you don't have one, don't fret. You can have your hands on the floor, just as is, or bring your palms together if it feels better for you. But I do want you to notice that if we go shuai with the elbows, the arms start to roll in, the shoulder blades start to roll in towards the ears, which doesn't usually make the neck very happy. Go ahead and bring your palms to the block. Let your fingers run long. Take a big inhale, push down through the arms, lift your chest, lift your navel. On the exhale, lift your hips up and back. First dolphin. As you find the shape, let your neck be long, meaning let your ears line up with the inner upper arms. And then it always feels a little bit counterintuitive. See if you can walk the feet a little bit further forward. Bend the knees generously. As you bend your knees, push down through the arms, lift your hips up and back. Imagine heart center can move up and back towards your pubic bone, towards the pelvis. Last breath. Exhale, set the shins down, rest. Child's pose. If you want to modify it, bring your knees together. Arms back alongside the feet. Forehead resting on the mat. And let's come into round number 2. Bring the forearms back in front of you. Find a block. Taking that block between your palms, same thing to enter. Shift forward, shoulders over the elbows. Tuck the toes, lifting your navel, big inhale, lift the sternum. Exhaling, hips up and back. Dolphin. So we're going to do this on each side. We'll come down in between the sets. Go ahead and slowly lift your right leg up and back. So it's a 3-limb dolphin. Adding a soft bend to your left knee, sense your left hip crease. Can you draw that left hip crease back and in as you continue to lift up to the inner right leg? Last 2 breaths. It's never going to matter if it's perfect. Do notice your breath. Set the right foot down as you feel ready. Set your shins down. Maybe setting your hips to the heels this time. 2 breaths in between. Final round. This would be number 3. Bring your forearms down. Tuck the toes, lift the chest, big inhale. Last side, yogis, lift the hips up and back, dolphin. Notice the intensity of the shape. Notice where your mind goes when things become difficult. Lift your left leg up and back, big inhale. Same work, add a soft bend to the right knee. Use that soft bend to help you sense the right hip. Can you draw the right hip back and in? Last 2 breaths. Exhale, go ahead and set the foot down, set the shins down. Keeping the knees together, bring the forehead down, walk the hands back. Modified Balasana, child's pose. And inhale, slowly rise up to your shins. How about that for a warm-up, huh? Just messing with you. Go ahead and drink some water real quick if you'd like to. Towel off. We'll come into our last standing flow. And then we'll work into our cool downs. Okay, so for our last standing flow today, we are going to work into Warrior 3. You are more than welcome to use your blocks. We're going to do this from a pyramid shape, Parsvottanasana. So as you feel ready, if you know you'll be using blocks or some kind of prop, get your Tupperware, your blocks, your water bottles at the top of the mat. Let's go ahead and come into downward facing dog. Now I'm going to start with my right leg. You're more than welcome to start with the left. Just might be easier if we do the same side. Lift the right leg up and back, big inhale. Exhale slowly, hug the knee into the chest, step the foot through the hands. Bring the left foot just slightly closer, spinning the heel down. So your heels might be lining up, but you might also have a wider stance. Kind of modify, play with it. Finding your blocks, if you will be using them, push into them, lift your chest up and away from the floor. And then sensing that right hip crease, I'm going to switch just so you can see. Take your right thumb towards that right hip crease. Can you guide that outer right hip back and in? Lengthen the chest forward. Feel the stretch in the back of that right thigh. And then imagine that it was almost a river in the back of that leg. Can you feel the breath moving down the leg? Flowing down the leg. Maybe the opposite. One more breath. You can always bring the blocks a little bit lower. You can always bring the hands to the floor. Think long spine. On your next inhale, let's begin to bend the front knee. As you shift the chest forward, go ahead and bring the hips forward so the hip is right over that left heel. Big inhale, reach your chest forward and up. Exhale, start to lift the back right leg. I guess we're on the other side. Go ahead and lift your left leg up and away from the floor. Take a big inhale, lift your chest up and away from the mat. On the exhale, feel free to guide your hands to your hips. Can you lengthen the chest forward in space? Can you gently hug that right hip back and in? The same work we did in the standing split, in the lunges today, the dolphin. Last full breath. Exhale, bring your hands down to the mat or to your blocks. Step your left foot down to meet your right, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, root your palms, step the feet back, downward facing dog. So this time it is the left leg. Inhale, lift the left leg up and back. Exhale, hug the knee and step the foot through the hands. Again, bring the right foot just slightly closer, spinning the heel down. Again, feel free to use your blocks or your props. Big inhale, pushing into the blocks, the floor, lengthen your chest forward and up. Same work. If it was useful, guide your thumb, your left thumb to that hip crease and guide it back and in. Big inhale, chest reaching forward. Exhale, bring the hands back down to the floor or to the blocks. Finding the appropriate fold depth for your body today. One more breath. And let's do that same work. Begin to bend the front knee. Start to shift the chest, the hips forward in space. Once you feel the weight has shifted forward, keep a sopping in that left knee. Bring the blocks to a higher setting, higher level. And same work, lift the back right leg. Big inhale, lift the chest forward and up. Think about that outer left hip. Can you hug it back and into center? Maybe guiding hands to hips. Warrior 3. This will be our variation today. Last full inhale. Exhale, go ahead and bring your hands to the blocks or the floor. Step the right foot to meet the left foot. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, ground your palms. Step the feet back, plank pose. Big inhale, long spine. Exhale, shift past the wrist. Chaturanga Dandasan, maybe all the way down to the mat. Inhale, scooping up Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now again, I'm going to turn on the mat just to make it easier for you to see if you need to use your eyes. We're going to step the feet forward, stepping the feet outside the hands this time, coming into Malasana squat. Now if you'd like today, go ahead and take a block or a pillow, something beneath your pelvis. Stretch your toes out wide. Now the block is optional, you don't have to use it, but it might be a nice choice. Go ahead and guide the outer arms to the inner thighs. Pushing the arms into the thighs, root the palms into one another, lift the sternum and the chest away from the floor. Now if you're in this shape and you find that it's really hard for you to lift your chest, meaning you find you're kind of rounding and sinking to the floor, go ahead and push the backs of the arms or the elbows into the tops of the thighs, lifting the chest up and away from the mat. Broad collarbones, broad shoulders, big inhale. 2 more breaths here. Now here comes our twist. Keeping the sternum lifting. Again, I'm going to do the opposite of you. Go ahead and extend your right hand down, right outside of the mat. Keeping that arm nice and long, push the back of the right arm into the inner thigh. Guide your left arm up to the ceiling, twisting open. Really reaching out through the arms. 2 more breaths. Notice how your hips may kind of swivel to one side. Can you hug the hips to center? 1 more full inhale. Exhale, go ahead and bring the hands back to heart center. Let's prep for the second side. Extend your left hand down, so the hands need to probably come off the mat. And again, it could be palms or fingertips. Extend your right arm high, rolling open. So again, you're pushing that outer arm into the inner thigh. You're reaching out through the legs. 1 more breath. And exhale, palms to heart center. All right, so we're going to play here on our hands for just a moment. We're going to work into Bakasana crow pose. Now, before I show you the variation on your hands, I'm going to show you the first variation on your back, which might be easier. But either way, it's the same work. If you'd like to do this on your back today, the wrists are achy, you'll come onto your back. And as you come onto your back, you're going to place the feet on the floor. Reaching the arms up to the ceiling, you're going to roll the shoulders away from the mat, sensing your core. And then on the exhale, you're going to draw your knees towards the outer arms. If it's possible, hug the feet together, curl the chest, the shoulders away from the mat, and you'll hold this for about 5 breaths. For those of us working on our hands, this is the just-in-case block. It can always go beneath your forehead. I will demo. Bring your hands down, creating a triangle. between your hands and that block. As you bend the elbows, you're on the balls of the feet, so you're in a sort of a squat. Shift your weight forward, bringing the elbows over the wrist. Bring your forehead down to the block. Taking a big inhale here, bring the feet closer together. And then on the exhale, you're going to hug everything to center as you round the spine, as you lift the navel. Start to lift the left heel up towards the butt, maybe followed by the right heel. Hugging the feet in, you might lift your head. 3 more breaths. So your knees might be higher, they might be further outside the arms. They could even be all the way to the armpits. They're all Bakasana. We all look different. Honor your shape. Honor your breath. Last full inhale. Exhale, bring the feet to the floor, come back into Malasana squat. Full inhale, lift the chest. And then on the exhale, rooting your palms into the mat. This is our second to last vinyasa. Ground the palms, step the feet back, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga, all the way to the mat. Inhale, scooping up, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, release all the way down. Go ahead and extend your hands back alongside the hips, the thighs. Pushing the hands, the fingernails, the toenails into the floor. Inhale, lift the chest. So we'll call this Locust A. Exhale, lift just your legs. And then feel those inner heels. Can you push them out away from you? You'll feel your thighs kind of roll in. Big inhale, continue to extend your chest forward in space. Exhale, start to bend your knees. Try to push the heels up to the ceiling. You got 1 more full inhale. And exhale, come all the way down. You might rest your forehead on your palms or a cheek on the mat. Really let your body soften. And last breath. And round 2. Inhale, lift your chest. Again, guide the hands back alongside the hips. Big inhale, lift the sternum, pushing down through the fingernails, the toenails. Exhale, bend your knees, lifting the legs away from the floor. Lift the arms away from the floor. And then reach your hands back toward your heels. Try to hug your heels toward your hands without actually grabbing on. We're going to stay here for 2 breaths. Feel the shoulder blades guiding your chest forward, even as you glide them down the back. Last full inhale. Exhale, come all the way down. So again, same work, cheek on the mat or forehead on your palms. And let's shift into Dandasan bow pose. Bring your chin back towards the mat. Bending your knees 1 leg at a time. Reach your left hand back towards that outer ankle, top of the foot. As you bend the right knee, reach your right hand back towards that outer ankle, top of the foot. Now, if it feels almost impossible to grab your feet today, keep your hands down, lifting the chest, lifting the legs, even lifting the arms today if you'd like for Locust. If not, again, grabbing onto the feet. Take a big inhale. Exhale, push back into the hands, scoop the chest up. As you lift the legs, reach your chest forward. 3 breaths. Last full inhale. Exhale, slowly come all the way down, and again, resting. Last 2 breaths. And guiding the hands back beneath the elbows. Inhale, push yourself up and away from the floor, rising into plank or all fours. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Bending your knees, big inhale, forward. You can do a little hop, if not step, top of the mat. We're going to cross the ankles, sitting the butt down to the mat. And then go ahead and stretch your legs long in front of you. Pushing down into the thighs, take a big inhale here, lifting the chest. And then on the exhale, go ahead and bring your hands down alongside your hips. So this is called Dandasana, stap pose. We're going to try to sit up nice and tall. Right, I'll just turn here. Pushing your heels, your thighs down into the floor. Bring your hands down outside your hips. Can you now push down through the arms? You feel the shoulder blades draw down, the chest lifts away from the floor. Gently draw the front ribs and navel back and in. Close the eyes if it's comfortable, gently guiding the chin back towards the neck. So you feel long through the back of the skull. Last breath. Good. Next exhale, go ahead and bend your left knee, sliding the foot in. Now as you bend that knee and you slide the foot in, you might feel that if you draw the foot too far back, your pelvis kind of tucks under, your spine rounds. Can you have the foot far enough forward that you can feel like you're lifting away from the floor? Push the back of the pelvis forward, the sacrum forward, lift your sternum. So we're going to do a variation of Asana today. Go ahead and guide your right forearm over that left shin. Taking your left hand behind your pelvis, big inhale, push down through the left hand, lift your chest up and away from the floor. And then on the exhale, we'll twist slowly to the left. So you feel the right rib cage rolls forward towards that left inner thigh. The left rib cage, shoulder, head is rolling back. 3 more breaths. And on the exhale, let's stay in the twist. Roll your chin forward towards your front right shoulder. Drop the chin down to the shoulder, stretching into the neck, the scalene muscles. Maybe now guiding the ear to the shoulder, working more into the upper trap. And as you're ready, let's slowly release. Come back to center, stretch your left leg to straight. Bend your right knee, slide the foot in. And same work, you're sitting up nice and tall. If you come into my classes often, or you did before everything that's happening right now, you might remember that we always use a blanket beneath our pelvis. If you have one, you're more than welcome to use it. Guide your left forearm around that right shin. Take the right hand behind your pelvis, rooting into the fingertips, maybe the palm. Big inhale, push into that back end, reach your chest forward and up. Exhale, slowly twisting towards the right. So again, you feel your left rib cage is rolling in towards that right thigh. You can sense the right rib cage rolling back in space, wide collarbones. Last 2 breaths. And same work, yogis. Slowly roll your chin forward towards that front shoulder, dropping the chin down. Keep that back right shoulder heavy. And if you did before, guiding left ear towards left shoulder, working more into the upper trap. And slowly releasing, lift your chest, come out of the twist, stretching the legs long, wiggle the legs around if it feels nice. And we'll move now into Janu Shirshasana. Now, people often call this head to knee pose. Know that you do not have to get your head to your knee. We're going to go ahead and bend the left knee, bringing the sole of the foot to the inner right thigh. Now, if this gives your knee any grief, feel free to take a block outside of that thigh. Take a big inhale, reach the arms up and overhead, rooting that right thigh down into the mat. On the exhale, we're going to start by folding down inside of the thigh. Walk the hands further back if you can. Lift your chest, straighten the arms. Think long spine. Big inhale. And then exhale, folding over that right thigh. Maybe walk the hands slightly further forward. Give yourself time. There's about 3 more breaths. And rooting that right heel, that right thigh, walk your hands back, big inhale. Let's switch. Stretch your left leg to straight. Bend your right knee, sliding the foot to the inner thigh. Again, if you have any knee issues or the knee's a little bit inhibited, you might take a block outside that knee or a blanket. Big inhale, arms reaching up. Exhale, folding inside that right thigh. Again, walk the hands slightly further back, lift the spine, lift the chest, big inhale. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. You begin to fold over that left thigh. And you can always walk the hands further forward, play with the fold. And again, always reminding yourself, it doesn't matter how far you go. And the truth of the matter is it's going to change every single day. And slowly beginning to walk the hands back in. Lifting your chest, take both legs long in front of you. Setting up for Parsvottanasana, forward fold. Gently drawing the toes back towards you. Big inhale, lift the sternum. Exhale, begin to walk the hands forward. Pushing into the fingertips again. Big inhale, lift the chest. Don't worry about how deep you can fold. Try to keep your spine long, really folding your pelvis over the thighs. 2 more breaths. And if you want to play with it, push through the inner ball of the foot, the big toe. Draw the pinky toes back towards you. And just notice how the legs engage. Rooting into the heels, inhale, walk the hands back in, lift your chest. And then on the exhale, we're going to slowly find our way down to our backs. As you find your way down, we're going to come right into our next shape. Keeping your left foot on the floor, draw your right knee towards your chest. And then go ahead and cross your right ankle over your left knee. So this is thread the needle. Using your right hand, guide that inner right thigh away from you. Draw the toes back towards the knee. And then as you lift your left leg away from the floor, thread your right arm underneath the right calf, taking the hand to the top of the left shin or the hamstring. Guide your left hand around, connecting the fingers, interlacing them. And then as you hug in with your arms, push the inner right thigh out away from you. It's almost like it's wrapping out towards the wall to your right or whatever is to your right. Soften the neck, the shoulders. Last full inhale. And exhale, let's slowly release. Hug both knees in. Place the right foot down on the mat, knee bent, second side. Guide your left ankle to cross that right knee. As you draw the toes back, as you dorsiflex, push that inner thigh out away from you. If this is already enough, a lot, just stay here. Right? If not, draw that right leg in, thread your left arm underneath that left calf. Take the right arm around the right thigh as you interlace the fingers. And again, it can be behind the shin, it can be behind the hamstring. It's the same work, whichever one you choose. Keep gently pushing that left inner thigh out away from you, even as you hug the right shin, the knee in towards your chest. And last full inhale. And exhale, releasing, hug both knees in. Rounding your spine, drawing your forehead to your knees. And then inhale, drawing the knees slightly wider, keeping the hands on the shins or bringing the hands to the shins. This is a modified happy baby. And so your pelvis is heavy, your neck is soft, the shoulders are relaxed. Full inhale. Choosing to stay here, or slide the hands up the outer calves, reaching for the outer edges of the feet, finding happy baby. Again, your neck is soft. You're pushing up to the feet even as you guide the knees out wide. I'm beginning to soften as if you could soften already here. for Shavasana. Last full inhale. And exhale, curl the knees back into the chest, round the spine. And on the inhale, go ahead and bring your feet down. Scoot the hips a little bit over to the left. Roll your knees over to the right. Bending the elbows out wide, supine twist. So the elbows are out wide, your cack's in the arms. Letting that left side body roll down towards the mat. And one more full inhale. And on the exhale, gently draw the navel back, roll to your back. Bringing the feet down, scoot the hips over to the right. Same work, second side. Roll the knees to the left. Bend the elbows out wide. Easy supine twist. And full inhale. And exhale, rolling to your back. Draw your knees in one last time. Forehead to knees. And slowly placing your feet down to the mat. Take the arms out wide. And you can choose today. Taking your legs long on the mat, closing in Shavasana, corpse pose. Or if you prefer, taking the feet together, knees out wide. Either way, find a comfortable position for yourself. If you're at home, set yourself up with some props, some blankets, some pillows. And really allowing your body to become heavy, letting go of all the effort. And returning back to the breath. And reminding you that as you shift into meditation, that meditation is not about going somewhere or leaving this moment. It is about arriving in the moment. Can you observe what shows up for you without judging the content? Let your breath be steady and simply become the witness. Last few breaths. And keeping your breath steady, smooth. Choosing to stay heavy on your back, lingering in Shavasana if you have time. If not, starting to slowly bend your knees, bringing the feet to the mat. And taking a full inhale. Stretching the left arm overhead. And on your exhale, rolling to your left side body, just resting in the fetal position. And stretching out through the top leg, pushing down through the hands. Let your head be last as you slowly rise up to a seat. Keeping the eyes closed if it's comfortable. And wherever you choose to close, wherever you do arrive, guiding your hands to heart center for a final Anjali Mudra, saluting your intention, saluting your practice, and being honest today. Can you take your intention with you, knowing it is not always easy? Knowing that you are loved, that you are strong, and that this too shall pass. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you have a wonderful day or evening, whatever time of the day it is for you. Thank you. Thank you, Bala. Namaste.